What's cracking, everybody? XehrFelrose here, bringing you some Pokemon Go Battle League content. Today's video, we're taking a look at some games in the Ultra League submitted to the channel by Papa Squatch97, formerly known as Sam Squatch97, but changed his name because he became a proud Papa recently. Welcome to Fatherhood, Trainer. Welcome to the Dad Club, the coolest of clubs there is. Congratulations. We're looking at some games with Verian Double Water here in the Ultra League, featuring that Golisopod with Shadow Claw. Now, Golisopod and Verian do share a flying weakness. However, the only real flying types in this meta at the moment are Drifblim. So this team looks like it could do very well, and we all love watching Greninja just slay things as it do. So let's get into the games here as we get to Verian in the lead versus a Zygarde. You'll love to see it. Get your stinky Zygarde out of here, says the guy with a Zygarde. But the nice thing here is that you do resist all of the energy from the Zygarde, and you have neutral play into this whole thing, but honestly, if we can just get rid of the Zygarde, most often there's going to end up being like a Tentacruel or something in the back. So not very comfortable for our back line here, but again, this is, it's Zygarde, who knows, man. You just need to get rid of this thing because it does have a lot of bulk, doesn't hit very hard, but it's really obnoxious to deal with. I think at some point we could swap into the Golisopod here, see if there's, like an electric or something, like an Ampharos in the back. Could be very possible, but Crunch is going to do a little bit of damage here. Going to leave us low enough where these Leaf Blades hopefully will be able to get thrown and knock out the Zygarde, get rid of this thing. Maybe save a move for later, but we at least get a shield off the Zygarde, which is nice. That sets up Greninja endgame regardless of what's in the back. There's almost always going to be some way to have play with a Greninja with shield advantage. So opponent is going to be able to fire off a last second charge move with 1 HP and a Dream on their Zygarde. Golisopod is fine with just tanking this Crunch and getting rid of the Zygarde. And in comes a Registeel opponent. Well, they were definitely weak in the back to the Verian, so that would explain why they stayed in with it, but we'll see what they have in the back here. Up a shield. This is extremely fine for Golisopod, especially with Liquidation, getting that defense drop, and Zap Cannon having a 30% chance now to drop the attack. Might not even be able to get the debuff. Thankfully, in this case, it does not. Liquidation is going to be outpacing this Registeel's moves. I think you get to the third one here even. If you want to, you get to this X-Scissor to be able to throw the charge move here. I don't know if that was a cap tie, but we're going to be able to get a shield off this Registeel if the opponent wants to keep it alive, and they do. At this point, do you just try and sweep? No. We're going to go for the farm down with the Golisopod. That's probably the most sensible thing to do here. And in comes a Feraligatr. No attack drop once again, but the opponent's Feraligatr is not a Shadow, and it does win charge attack priority over the Feraligatr. You would really think with how menacing Golisopod looks that it would have a higher attack stat. But X-Scissor is going to do quite a bit of damage here, and then we just come in with the Greninja and get a nice slash off. The opponent does know that it's over. They just stop tapping and surrender. Good game, well played. Go, Greninja, go! All right, getting into the next game here, we're going to have Verian on the lead versus a Golurk. Fantastic lead for this whole team. Golurk really not having anywhere to go against this team, and that's probably one of the biggest benefits of it. Now, because this isn't a Shadow Golurk and it's a regular, I'm pretty sure that this Leaf Blade does, only like 60-70% here. It's not going to hit nearly as hard as it would against the Shadow, but the opponent makes a very, very nice swap to catch a Leaf Blade on the Drapion here. Shadow Drapion is going to be able to do super effective with these poisons. The opponent fired that off a little bit quick for us to be worried about Sludge Bomb here. They may just be trying to, pace the clock here, but coming in with the Golisopod, you could almost even say you could come in with the Greninja here too, knowing that they have Crunch and that they have Aqua Tail. You completely wall the energy, and you could probably come out of this move or come out of this matchup with a move for the Golurk, but look how much damage those Shadow Claws are doing. Like, you tank a move here for sure, because they're going to have Dynamic Punch, and then you also resist the Mud Slaps. I think we just let this go. Golisopod doing fine here. You could just let Greninja sweep whatever's in the back here. Verian comes in, tries to get a Leaf Blade off, and is successful this time in landing this Leaf Blade. The opponent has to decide if they want to shield this or not, and they have decided to invest both shields into this thing. Now the opponent is going to throw off a charge move. This could be a Dynamic Punch, so Papa Squatch is going to go ahead and respect it, and they're going to go for the Shadow Punch instead. Leaf Blade coming through. Going to see how much damage this actually does. Nearly knocks out. Going for and trying to go for the snipe, but here comes Shadow Machamp. But even though it's Shadow Machamp, up a shield, we're still okay here because that Hydro Cannon is going to do a ton of damage. At this point, There's no way you shield this because the cross chop is going to be able to knock out regardless. They just outpace so much. But I think in this case we can shield once and hope that the Golurk does not have a charge move. They did do quite a bit of moves here. It's going to be hard to say. But should be able to get this farm down, and the Leaf Blade will knock out the Golurk if it doesn't have a move ready. But the opponent has the Drapion in the back as well, so we have to be careful about that before the opponent can come in with anything. Just throw in the Sacred Sword to get rid of this Drapion, and then we're one away from a Leaf Blade. If the opponent doesn't have a move, or they have 1 HP, never mind. They need to survive a double kick, which they can't do. Good game. All right, next game. Terrible core-breaking lead here in Clefable. Gonna go straight into the Golisopod and try and do something about this here. Clefable, it's always going to be worth remembering here that even though Clefable is a fairy type, it is not going to be able to just straight win against Greninja if Greninja can somehow get energy or shields instead, because it only wins if it lands that Moonblast. Fairy Wind is going to do quite a bit of damage, but it's not going to do enough to be able to really neutralize Greninja without landing that Moonblast. So the opponent's going to swap into the mirror with Golisopod after getting a Swift off with the Clefable, and now Papa Squatch is going to shield back, looking to try to maybe preserve Switch here, maybe. I don't really know that Switch is necessarily going to be the name of the game here, but going for shield advantage is the best way to get rid of the opponent's Clefable, and X-Scissor is going to be just the way to get rid of this Golisopod here. Are they going to shield this up? The opponent gives up both shields, and this is going to pave the way for a potential Greninja sweep. Greninja's going to come in here, and it does have to shield up the... It definitely has to shield with the X-Scissor because that would do a ton of damage. The opponent doesn't swap out. They're going to go for the Night Slash here. Do we get a boost? That would be huge. If Verian can get a Leaf Blade off against the Clefable, in addition... Oh, no, not the Pangoro! Oh, no! Oh, goodness. This is going to be a rough game. Clefable in the lead already kind of just makes us have a bad day here. Opponent's going to be able to go immediately for a move. I don't think the Verizian's going to have a way to pull this one out, unfortunately. The close combat's going to get that knockout. Boom! And unless somehow the opponent is not running Moonblast on their Clefable, this is going to be, unfortunately, a loss here. The opponent is going to go for their charge move here. If it's the Moonblast, we can hit the button and safely call this. Boom! Unfortunate, but Papa Squatch knows it. Good game. Nothing you could have really done there, honestly. All right, following up, can we get some redemption following this next game into a shiny Duskmane Necrozma here? Awkward. So timing wise, we want to make sure we're going on odd double kicks, right? So you want to be going on 1, 3, 5. We don't want to be throwing on 4 because that gives the opponent a full free Shadow Claw. Just a small note, as I like to try and point those kinds of things out whenever we get trainers that submit the battles. But opponent full sends the Sunseal Strike, and that's what I was afraid of. Now this whole team does very, very well into the Necrozma, and now they have a Golisopod in the back, so I'm not really sure how this would have transpired if the opponent or if Papa Squatch had made like an immediate swap into Golisopod, for example. But we are kind of hoping at this point that maybe Greninja can pull out something out of its hat for the end game here. Aerial Ace is going to be super effective into the Golisopod, but it really doesn't do that much more damage than X-Scissor, to be honest. X-Scissor having that same type attack bonus is going to hit just a little bit harder, and the opponent's going to be forced to shield up the first time in this game, and Papa Squatch is just very happy to let this go. He's going to put his trust in the Greninja here, knowing that the opponent only has Aerial Ace. They probably don't have X-Scissor, and that's going to actually open up the gate or a Verizian catch instead of just a Greninja sweep. We are full going all in on the Greninja here, putting it all in the back of this little frog that could. Greninja's going to be able to fire off a Night Slash. The opponent surely won't shield this one, and we're going to have to see what they have in the back. The opponent has the Machamp. Here we go again, Machamp. In the back, the opponent is going to have to shield this Hydro Cannon, but wait, it's not really a Hydro Cannon. It's a Night Slash. Are they going to shield? Do we get a boost? Please boost. Please boost. Oh, no boost. But maybe he was firing off the Night Slash with an attempt to try and get that boost and also expect the opponent to catch. Now, having 2 shields is nice here, but these karate chops are chewing through the Greninja, and it's going to come down to, does the opponent make a catch? I think that's what Papa Squatch is trying to fish for here, is an opponent. Wait, oh, the Necrozma's gone. What was I worried about? Never mind. Forget it. Good game. I forgot it got knocked out. It got knocked out at the very beginning of the game, and I forgot about it. Typhlosion in the next game swaps in as the opponent hard loses that lead to the Verian with the Feraligatr. No, Greninja's going to come in to deal with this. And fortunately for Greninja, they're going to get the first shield here because the pacing to these moves, they're just going to no-shield the Thunder Punch. That does so much damage, dude! This is scary, dude. I'm genuinely terrified now. Is the opponent going to look to give up their second shield for switch advantage? I think they kind of have to. But Golisopod up his shield could do okay in that matchup because it's resisting all the charge moves here. In comes the Golisopod. It's not going to be able to fully farm down, I don't think. The opponent could easily fish for a bait here or go full send that Blast Burn. They go for the Thunder Punch. And that means now that the... So we know that Verian is locked in on the Feraligatr, but we still swap into the Feraligatr anyway. The opponent obviously has got to have Ice Beam here. That's the only sensible reason for them to do this, so that they could get the Verian low. However, the Ice Beam is going to do enough. That's going to knock it out, but is Golisopod going to get the farm down? It needs to be able to take this game. It's going to take resistant damage from these charge moves. What's in the back for the opponent? That's really what this is going to come down to. Is this Golisopod going to be able to make a full sweep? I think it is. You could have fit 2 Shadow Claws in there just to be technical about it, but the opponent is gonna have to go for a move, and they can't because it incinerates on the Skeletors, and I don't think that the Typhlosion has a move ready. Can the opponent get to the move against this? No, they can't get to the move! They can't get to the Liquidation's gonna knock out. Kaboom, 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 take him out! Oh, it's beautiful. Good game, Golisopod, some really nice energy management there. Golisopod just stealing the show today. We got a Alolan Muck. Interesting core breaker here, but the opponent is running the Snarl variant, which is a little bit better for Verian here because it's not taking the super effective fast moves. But unfortunately, the opponent is probably running Sludge Wave as well, so that's going to do a ton of damage. Is Papa Squatch going to respect that damage? We're going to have to find out. He does. They run the Gunk Shot. They dropping full trash cans out here. And then Verian's going to be able to get off 2 Sacred Swords here, though, so that's going to at least put shield pressure on the Muck for the second shield, or for the first shield on their side, I should say, and able to go for another Sacred Sword. The opponent firing off a lot of Snarls here, trying to get this energy, and honestly, that makes sense to me going into the Golisopod here, trying to absorb this energy. Verian is probably going to do well in the back, but Gunk Shot is going to land on Golisopod, and in comes a Swampert, which normally would be completely walled by Golisopod. However, Golisopod is so low that a Hydro Cannon would do more than enough to knock out. Is the Golisopod going to be able to get to a move here? Absolutely not, but that's okay because Verian's still pretty dang healthy and is going to be more than happy to come in here and get some extra energy with which to be able to deal with this team. Now, immediately going for the Leaf Blade here, I kind of don't hate this, but I kind of think that we could have abused the Swampert for a little bit more energy, but you also don't want to let the Swampert just be able to swap out and roam free against the back here. So, opponent's going to have a Talonflame in the back. Greninja's coming in to deal with this, and the thing with the Greninja here, though, is that it's going to have to choose to shield a potential Brave Bird or a Gunk Shot from this opponent's Muck. So we're going to see what the opponent decides to do, because I think that's going to be the primary thing that's going to matter. Now, is Papa Squatch going to shield? Do the shields the fly, and the opponent not going to be able to get to... But the game forces an overtap. Hello, we tapped the move. What was that, Niantic? Goodness gracious, this game, dude. So now if the opponent's fly knocks out, which I hope it doesn't at this point, because that was an absolutely, like, Papa Squatch deserved this regardless. The opponent's fly connects, but is not enough, and thankfully, even though the game decided to try and wrestle this win from Papa Squatch's grasp, he was able to grab it back and say, no, Niantic, not today. Hello, what is this? Gengar, I haven't seen that in ages, dude, but I love Gengar. It's such a fun pick. Opponent going for that Shadow Punch, recently buffed in power. Gonna do quite a bit of damage, but not really worth a shield here. Shadow Punch doing only a little bit of damage. The opponent's gonna come in with a Pangoro. Now, also going immediately for the Night Slash. Pangoro is very quick to hit those Night Slashes now with that Karate Chop action. It's gonna be able to take a X-Scissor here, but I don't think it'll be able to take 2. The Papa Squatch is gonna reach for that second. I think you could have even maybe reached the Liquidation, but it would have been very close. Yeah, we could have reached the Liquidation, but it would have been really close. But Verian can come in here and do quite a lot of work. This farm is going to be very nice for it, as Pangoro going to go for the close combat. Going to do quite a bit of damage, but this defense drop is pretty massive and a lot of energy on Verian with a shield advantage. And then in comes a Typhlosion. The opponent immediately concedes because they know they're cooked. Good game. You simply don't disrespect Greninja. We have another Zygarde lead here in the Ultra League. We got a Verian. It's yeah, this is fun. We love Zygarde, right? Surely, Zygarde, yay. We're probably gonna see the same thing as last time play out. Depending on the IVs of the opponent Zygarde, they may or may not live to get this last move off here. As we saw in the last one, they lived with about 1 HP. The opponent coming in with a Shadow Mewtwo. Really cool pick here in the Ultra League. I haven't seen one of these in a while. I have one. Horrible IVs, but like Confusion just feels so clunky to me anymore. Now, Golisopod definitely could have been a good bring in here as well. For the fact that X-Scissor does super effective, as do the Shadow Claws. It just would have been a little bit easier. Plus, you wouldn't have had to worry about eating a dynamic punch from the Mewtwo. However, the Mewtwo is going to get just farmed down now. These water shurikens are all boosted. If y'all didn't see, this Greninja got a boost, and the opponent comes in with a Cresselia. Now, I would never really opt to throw moves right away like this, because the opponent may not have come back in with the Cresselia. They could have come in with a Zygarde, in which case a Hydro Cannon would have been a much better thing to come in with here. So Night Slash is going to get the shield here from the Cresselia. The Cresselia could, I think, go for this Moonblast and get the knockout. It's very tough because it's like Greninja is very glassy, but Grass Knot wouldn't have been enough there anyway. Opponent's Cresselia is now shieldless. And honestly, Golisopod also looking very nice in this matchup. However, going for this Night Slash is gonna be enough to knock out Cresselia, and Zygarde is just sitting in the back waiting to get shredded by this Greninja as it's boosted. Double boosted, the opponent lets it go. You know what? That's okay. Good game. Greninja deserves it. Got another Clefable in the lead here in this next game. Immediate swap into the Golisopod. Definitely not the same trainer, though, as they are going to come in with a Feraligatr. And Feraligatr is going to have to eat a couple of X-Scissors. And all of it, unless it's running Crunch, all of its energy here is walled. So Golisopod's in a very solid situation here in this game. Okay, never mind. They're running Crunch, so now it makes more sense as to why they came in with it. But here, Crunch is going to get that debuff, but unfortunately for the opponent, they're going to have to shield this X-Scissor or give up Switch here, and they do decide to go for the shield. Now, Golisopod has a choice to make. Does it want to get this X-Scissor off? Nah, it's all right. If they have Hydro Cannon and Crunch, you can honestly farm down this with the Verian here completely and have this energy to be able to fire back at the Clefable. We never need to shield anything here because the opponent is not running Ice Beam. So Crunch, just not much happening here. But the thing is that I like about this play is that these Leaf Blades are going to add up very quickly into this Clefable. They're going to have to fire off either Bait with Swift, or they are going to have to go. If they go for the Moonblast, you can safely fire off a bunch more Leaf Blades here. Just go for one and then the move every time. Opponent doesn't decide to bait for the Swift here, and unfortunately, that is very uncomfortable because now this Verian is going to have to start firing this energy off a lot quicker. But again, we're firing these moves off right away. I would always be going for one double kick in between each one, because if you had, we would have been able to fire off another Leaf Blade by now, and the opponent would not have been able to get to this move as soon as they did. Right? We gave them essentially 2 moves for free, but Papa Squatch is looking to save that shield for the Greninja here, but the opponent going for the Swift is going to be their undoing, as Leaf Blade's going to knock out the Clefable, and they don't know how. Oh no, they have a Licky in the back, dude. No, this is not good for the opponent. They should have definitely shielded the Clefable. Going for that Swift was a mistake on their end. And now, what? Huh? What was that? We're just lagging today, I guess? That's all right. Well, whatever, I guess. No idea what happened there. Again, it's always hard to tell if that's, just the game being crappy or if it's, somebody doing some shady stuff. But I'm going to assume it was the game being crappy because I don't want to, I don't want to hate on people. I'd rather hate on the game and Niantic because it's, Greninja comes in for the finishing touch here and is going to be able to take out that Licky. Good game. All right, getting to the next game. We got Verian mirror leads here, and you got to stay in and get rid of this Verian no matter what. Now, the opponent is going to try, try to catch the move here. This is going to get really dicey here. Hopefully, Greninja can avoid this Verian entirely, because if it gets stuck up against the Verian at any point, this is not going to be a good time. But in the end, it looks like it was a very good decision to swap out here as we're drawing out the Ampharos, and this makes a lot of sense here. So we're going to be able to get a second X-Scissor off, but the opponent decides to fire off energy, and this is a very good situation for Verian to be able to do something here. Now, Trailblaze going to boost the damage here, but honestly, we could get a lot of energy back. Going for 2 double kicks and then going for the move is good timing here. One and then the move is also good, but it's okay. You know, timing is weird sometimes with like 4-turn moves. It's like there's a good time to do it, and then if you don't do it in that time, it never comes back. So the opponent doesn't seem to have a harder answer to Papa Squatch's Verian, so comes in with their own Verian and looks to fire off the energy that they've gathered against it. And we're just going to see a Cacti here, and then Sacred Swords will be flying left and right and center until at least one of these deers has gone into some headlights and has left the field to play. So Sacred Sword is going to be going through here, and now, honestly, this Verian is also in range of being taken out by Greninja. Do you shield this and try to get this thing even lower? I like this play. It looks like the Verian here is in a solid position, as long as the opponent doesn't have another hard check to Greninja in the back, which they don't seem to have a hard check, but this could be risky here, having a Walrein in the back. I have to see how this plays out. Walrein does have the ability to hit with an Earthquake if the opponent is running it. I have seen some with Water Pulse, which has definitely been an interesting thing. And I feel like there's a chance this one might also have it, given that there is a Verian in the lead. And now the game is lagging. And as the opponent stopped tapping, it looks like they've stopped tapping. I'm not sure if their app crashed or if they've quit. I don't think that this is a quittable game. You have 2 shields and a Walrein, but the opponent looks to have come back. Maybe they were trying to use that stupid little exploit that now everybody knows about. It's hard to say. You never really can tell with the way that the game is anymore, but Greninja's boosting and the Night Slashes are just flying out. The opponent goes for the Earthquake and is able to get the shield here off of, or get a lot of HP off of the Greninja, and getting a shield with the Icicle Spear. You can never really know for sure if they're going to bait or if they're going to just go straight for the Earthquake here, but looking to get this Night Slash off. And is the Verian close enough to a move where it could swap in? Doesn't matter. The opponent has no shields left. Night Slash is going to be enough, and that's going to take out the opponent's Walrein. Good game, Pop Squatch. Really exciting games here. Picking up a nice 4-1 set. 5-0 set. There we go. We take those. And these were submitted earlier in the season. I didn't get around to them in the first Ultra League rotation, which is why they're back in, you know, early ranked battles. But that's okay, because this team does look super solid. I like Golisopod in this meta a lot. I think it's really strong. That's going to do it for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.